Hi, happy Sunday. It's Lisa Rossmeisel, owner of Boomerang Escapes, and I'm back with my passport for your palate. Today happens to be World Baking Day. I don't necessarily consider myself a baker, but I will bake. I consider myself more of a cook, one of those, a dash of this, a dash of that. But with baking, you have to be a little more exact with your measurements. I do have a good friend, Jan Maurer, who is excellent at baking. Love her desserts. But today, this is more of less of a travel related recipe and more of a family request. Veronica asked me to use the bananas that she had bought for herself that have gone a little too brown for her liking. I actually probably let them sit longer normally before I use them for banana bread, which is what we're gonna make, but we're gonna make a gluten-free banana bread. I believe I've mentioned before that Veronica has celiac, so I've had to adapt a lot of things. The recipe I'm going to do today is actually one I found online and that I've adapted with my ingredients. The author is Audrey Roberts, and she is known as Mama Knows Gluten-Free. So you can visit her website at www.mamaknowsglutenfree.com. Whoops, my bananas are falling. They're breaking apart there. So anyway, the ingredients today, we've got our bananas. So go ahead and get these peeled and into the bowl. Throw that out later. So I've had to adapt a lot of different things. And she was diagnosed in middle school, but I have to tell you, gluten-free products have really come a long way in 10 years. And really, in general, there are so many things that are already gluten-free. Hold on a second, I am missing my masher. Okay, so ancient tool here is been through the ruins, but this was my grandmother's or my great-grandmother's good old potato masher, but it works great for bananas. So we'll get these mashed up. And right now I have my oven already on a 350. So my oven's preheated to 350, and I have my baking pan lightly coated with spray, olive oil spray. All right, so we want to get these kind of smooth, nice creamy. I love this thing. I still actually will mash potatoes by hand with this. Actually, I have to, because I don't, well, I have like a Cuisinart, like, I think it's a Cuisinart. No, KitchenAid standing mixer, but the beater mixer, I don't have one of those anymore because I have a bad habit of beating and then lifting up like that. And then we have mashed potatoes or whatever I might be mixing all over the kitchen. I do not claim by any means to be a good cook. Oh my gosh, I'm having trouble today. I am not a neat cook. I am a very messy cook. So kitchen is always a hot mess when I'm done. But we got our bananas. Now we're going to add the baking soda. I've got 1 teaspoon of baking soda going in here. Move that out of my way. Add my baking soda in there. See our nice mix? Yeah, right. Then I've already melted the butter. This is unsalted butter. So now we're going to add the unsalted melted butter in here. Stirring it as I go. There we go. Get that out of the way. Now we'll get that all incorporated before I put my next ingredient in. So the next thing it wants is the sugar. So I think something I've started using is this coconut sugar. Oh my gosh, I have a speech problem today. I am so sorry. But here we go. I need 3/4 cups of sugar. So you'll see that this sugar is actually the coconut sugar. So I can show you is a brown color. So there's 1, 2. Yes, and I should be leveling this. See, I'm not exactly a baker, as I said. So, all right, so we'll mix in my coconut sugar. And we're also gonna put our salt. So I've got some regular salt. The salt is just a pinch. I'm love to use my hand, actually. A lot of times, instead of my teaspoons and tablespoons, I'll just dump my seasonings in my hand. So we've got our salt in there, we've got our sugar in there, and my eggs, it's 2 large eggs. I use brown organic eggs, and ask for them to be whipped up. So here we go. Look at that lovely yellow color. Put that in there. Okay. And let's incorporate my eggs. And then the next thing here is, make sure that's all mixed together, is my vanilla. And the vanilla is a teaspoon. So put the vanilla. Make sure I close this up before I knock it over. Close this up. Thing is not rotating today with me, but all right, so we've got the vanilla in there. So we've got all of our liquid ingredients in there. Next, I'm going to be putting in the flour. So this is where some of the gluten-free comes in. I'm just smashing up a few chunks of banana that I see there, sorry. So I've got our mixture. Now the flour calls for 1.5 cups. I'm using Bob's Red Mill. I'm really like Bob's Red Mill, a lot of their gluten-free products. I use a lot of his products, particularly when it comes to baking. Now, Audrey Roberts here mentions to make sure that when you're measuring the gluten-free flour, you do it the good old-fashioned way. So I'm not going to do what I just did with the sugar and scoop my thing in there. I'm going to go ahead and scoop it right into here. And then, as I remember from cooking class in high school, do you remember when we had cooking class in high school? Just level it off. So leveling, just taking a knife and leveling it off. So there's my 1 cup. Mix that in very slowly here so I don't give us a dusting. Blow it up in my face. All right, and then I still need 1/2 cup. So now I've got my 1/2 cup measure. Scoop that in here. And again, just doing and leveling it off. First thing I ever made I don't know if it's the first thing I made in cooking class, but I know one thing that I was really excited about was I made a coconut cake because my dad loves coconut. So I had learned how to make a coconut cake when I was taking high school cooking class. And then I know for one birthday I made it for him. So I literally have been cooking a long time. I think it actually started with Girl Scouts and the cooking badge when I was about, I don't know, 10, 11 years old. So it is just one of my passions, and it ties in so nicely with travel because food really is part of that whole component when you're traveling. The taste and the culture. And I could have mashed my bananas a little bit better today, I must say. But so now we've got the mixture. Make sure I've got everything incorporated in there. All right, so let me move this out of my way. And we'll get this here. All right. So now, after you've got all your ingredients mixed, we're gonna pour the batter into my greased loaf pan. So just pour it in here. Ooh, you know what? guess what I forgot? We're gonna stop. I forgot the sweet treat. Ugh. All right, I use only a quarter cup. So I'm gonna add a quarter cup. Again, I'm kind of sloppy. There's about a quarter cup. Put those in there. Give them a quick mix. She would not have been happy if I'd forgotten the chocolate chips. All right. Now that all my ingredients in there. See, this is completely unedited, unscripted. This is just me in my kitchen. It smells really good. It smells banana. Yes. All right. So scrape it all out. All right. And loose chocolate chip. All right. So my banana's in there. It's good to go. It's going in my preheated 350-degree oven. It's going to be in there for about 50 minutes to an hour. So we'll come back and show you the finished product, or post a picture of it later. But all right, we are back. The timer is just about to go off. I put the bread in for the 50-minute time frame. So there we go. There's the timer. Let me turn that off. Let's see. Get my mitts. Ooh, smells great. Set that down for a second. Put that on my way. So there we go. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna let it cool. I have this great rack here, old Pampered Chef purchase. But let's just make sure 50 minutes was enough. So let me bring this over here, and got a toothpick, and we're gonna poke that in the center, and it comes out clean. So it is done. This is gonna sit now and cool for a bit before it gets sliced. And then my favorite thing to do is slice it, spread a little butter on there. Yeah, spread a little butter on there and enjoy. But that is a loaf of gluten-free bread. I will post a picture when we eat it later. All right, have a wonderful Sunday. See you next time.